guys, this is Astrology. I'm Gabriella.
And I'm Snow. And we are your astrological and spiritual life coaches.
Here to give you the tea straight from the motherfucking cosmos.
Yes, guys, we are back with another episode and we're super excited. Once again, I feel like we say this every time, but every single time we are excited for a new episode.
Yes, the vault we have for our podcast episode ideas, it's getting pretty long, guys. It's getting pretty, the list is getting long. So the more we record, the more excited I get because I'm like, guys, we have so much to share with you. So I'm so excited because today, because today we are talking about your ascendant sign, your rising sign, how this is the key to your ascension.
So if you've been sleeping on your rising sign, you will not today, because we're going to give you the tea once again, because it's what we do here.
Exactly.
But first, before we get into that,
exactly, if you want to join our beautiful astro community, please head over to our Instagram at astrology. We have such a beautiful community on there, and we will not stop talking about our community on there because we just love you guys so freaking much on there, and we are so grateful for each and every one of you. So blessed. So if you want to join our beautiful community, like, guys, seriously, if you're on your spiritual journey and you need a community to help support you, because going through your spiritual journey and on your way to enlightenment is no easy task. It is a destructive process, like we always talk about. So if you need that support, please head over to our community on Instagram. Also, if you just need more guidance with astrology and learning about birth charts and all of that, definitely go over there to our Instagram as well, because we have a lot of good posts according to that as well.
And if you're interested in learning how to use astrology and spirituality to help bring you that healing and help connect you to your higher self, to bring yourself that spiritual ascension, definitely check out our website. You can find us at www.astrology.ca, where we would love to work with you and love to guide you throughout that process.
We love our clients so much.
Yes,
we love each and every one of
you.
you.
Truly do. We love watching you guys transform and bring you to that place.
All right, guys. So before we also get into this episode, we like to sip on this podcast show. That's why we are called Astrolo.tea. We are giving you guys the hot freaking tea. So every episode we talk about what drink that we're drinking, and we encourage you to do the same. Go get your coffee, go get your tea, whatever beverage you are feeling right now, go grab it, because we are sipping together. So Snow, what are you drinking today?
Well, today Gabriella was so gracious to share her mint tea with me today. So I am trying this mint tea for the first time. I actually haven't tried it before. So let me
you've had mint tea before, haven't you?
Have I?
I swear mint tea is just mint tea.
I don't really step out, man.
You've never had mint tea?
I genuinely don't think I've had mint tea, actually.
What?
No, I haven't.
Are you joking right now?
Not that I can recall.
Wow. Guys, mint tea is literally my favorite tea.
I know, and that's the thing.
How have I not known this? I've known you for how long, and I didn't even know that?
I think it's one of those things that I just kind of didn't think about until right now, where I'm like, I cannot recall a clear time. My little sister sees as like a tea fiend, so I feel like we've definitely had mint tea inside the cupboard, but I don't think I've ever drank it, and there's no time that I can recall drinking it. So I don't know about you guys, but I love mint tea. The reason I like it is because I feel like you never have to add anything to mint tea. It's always because mint is so potent, like the flavor of mint is so potent that it's just, you don't need sugar. You don't need anything to, like, the way that you need it for like black tea or green tea, because the way it's so bitter, like sometimes you need that extra sweetness unless you like the bitterness. But with mint, it's just like, I don't know, it's so potent that I can gladly just drink it. That was literally me earlier when I was baking. I was like, Gabs, so like, do I put like sugar or honey in this? And she's like, no, I just drink it plain. Like it's good.
It's good. I mean, you could put honey in it. I love honey and mint tea as well, but I definitely could just drink it straight. I prefer to drink it straight. But this is a big moment, guys. She just tried it. What are you feeling?
It's good.
You like it?
She's minty. She's clean. It's giving me.
Yeah, it's like very refreshing.
Giving me holiday season, but also refreshing.
I like it.
I feel like it feels healing too. Like, this would be like a nice thing to drink when you're sick.
Oh yeah. So I'm also drinking mint tea. We are drinking the same drink today because I don't know. Everything else just, like, guys, it is getting hot here now, and I'm not complaining because I have been wanting this warm weather. I have been crying for this warm weather.
Gabriella's Leo stellium has been begging for this warm weather.
I'm a Leo. I literally rule the sun. Like, when the sun is not out, I just don't feel like I'm not thriving, So now that she's finally out, I'm thriving. But also living in a condo with no AC, it's been very It's been very interesting.
It's been an interesting adjustment.
Exactly. But we're adjusting, and I love it because I always grew up in a home that had like AC running all the time. So now this is really like conditioning me to just be comfortable in the warmth and in the heat, which is really good because I used to my mood would just go crazy when I was used to living in AC. But yeah, I don't know. Today I was feeling something iced, but nothing I wasn't feeling anything. Like usually I used to make a lot of iced coffee, guys, and I kind of just like fell off the like I don't know why, but I just stopped making iced coffee. And I don't know. I love iced coffee. Like I literally like iced coffee is probably one of my favorite beverages. And I don't know why I stopped making iced coffees, but I need to start doing that again.
Yeah, you should get back on that. Gabriella's iced coffee's hit. I've said this in a past thing, but she's a barista, whatever. She does what she needs to do. You know what I mean? So she brings the iced coffees. It's Gabbo Hortons over here.
Gabbo Hortons.
She's the star at Starbucks or whatever.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah,
that isn't. Oh my. Anyways, no, I'm nothing crazy, but I need to broaden my horizons because, I don't know. But I'm excited for this mint tea because I haven't had her in a minute. Ooh. There we go. That was a good sip. Yes. That hits. Refreshing. Okay. Guys, let's start. Let's get into this. What does your ascendant have to do with your ascension? And why are you guys reading your horoscopes wrong? This whole time, y'all been reading your horoscopes wrong.
And we're going to give you the tea on why.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to give you the tea on why.
Exactly.
So first off, before we even talk into the nitty gritty about what a rising sign is, let's define what an ascendant sign is. Mm-hmm. So your ascendant sign is also known as your rising sign. I'm sure you guys might have heard this when people ask for, what's your big three? What's your big three? Yeah. That includes your sun, moon, and your rising sign. So that is what it is that we're going to be talking about today. And your rising sign can be determined from your birth chart. So in order to find out your rising sign, you have to complete your birth chart.
Yes.
You have to do it.
And you need your exact birth time.
Yes, your exact birth time. Because unlike some other placements within your birth chart that have a little bit more leniency in which they change, your rising sign is probably the most nitty gritty point in your birth chart. Like this is changing every 2 hours, depending on how far you are from the equator. If you're closer to the equator, it's changing even faster rate. So you need to know that exact time.
And it's important, especially the rising sign, because we'll get into it later, but your rising sign literally sets up your whole birth chart. So it's so important when you want to work with an astrologer, for example, and you need guidance or whatever that might be. Like it is so important to have that exact birth time because then we can see a clearer picture. And when we don't have that exact birth time, it's like we can pull a lot of information. Like Snow was saying, you can find out what your sun, your moon, your Mercury, all like your placements where they are, and that can give us somewhat of a picture. But it's not the clear, bigger picture that we're looking for, right? Because there's a lot of important things that can be covered just from that birth time.
Yep.
Not only just your rising sign, but your aspects, your houses, where
degrees.
your houses are set up, your degrees, like so many important, very, very important things within your birth chart. So your birth time is real important. So to those who don't know your birth time, you really gotta text your mom or you need to contact your hospital. There's ways that you can find your birth time.
Yes,
for sure.
Or go dig through the files and find your birth certificate, because sometimes your mom be saying something, but if you're enduring labor for 9 hours, you're not going to remember things down to the details. So make sure you check. Be like Santa Claus. Check that list and check it twice.
Yes,
double
because
check.
every minute counts, guys. Like every minute counts.
Like we said, so in order to make your birth chart, we need the exact birth time and the exact location to determine your rising sign. So your rising sign is essentially the constellation that was ascending. Keyword ascendant over the eastern horizon the exact moment that you were born. So it is unlike the other placements within your birth chart. It is not a planet or a luminary like the sun and moon. It is actually a mathematical point.
Yes, and to clarify, when we say the constellation, because every zodiac sign has a constellation. So say the Capricorn constellation was rising over the eastern horizon when you were born, you are a Capricorn rising.
Yes,
right. So yeah, mathematical point.
Yes. So your rising sign will essentially, these are the main things that your rising sign will depict, which it'll depict things such as your social personality, your physical appearance, and how you navigate through this world, and a whole bunch of other things as well.
Lots of cool things. So actually, guys, this was when me and Snow found this out. We, like, I don't know, it was so interesting when we found this out. I thought it was so cool.
I was mind blown.
Yeah, so I wanted to share this with you guys. But originally, like back in the day, people used to refer to their sign, like their zodiac sign, as the rising sign. Like what? Like, so when people back in the day would be like, hey, what's your sign? They would be like, oh, I'm a Capricorn. When they'd say that, they were referring to their rising sign, not their sun sign, But now that we're in pop culture and the popularization of astrology's on the rise, right? So now everyone just refers to it as the sun sign.
Yes, because it's a lot easier to categorize people by their sun sign, because your sun sign, you're looking at a window of people within 30 days. It's a lot easier access to getting information from. You just need to know your birth date in order to find out where your sun sign is.
So it's more general. So it's easier to cover a large population. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like just doing the half-assed job.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like a lazy job.
Exactly.
Not to say that, it's lazy. Well, yeah, it is. But like,
it was to make things easier for us. Yeah. So it's kind of lazy. It was kind of lazy. When I found that out, I got so mad, guys. Like, I feel like this is definitely in my top 3 things of the world that if I could go back in time, I would change. Okay, maybe not top 3, but it's definitely up there in the list. Like, this is coming in behind Adam and Eve. If I could have stopped Eve from eating that apple, if I could have stopped them from saying we're not going to use our rising sign, we're going to use our sun signs again, I would go back in time and I would stop that. Because imagine, guys, like, your rising sign, like we just said, it's changing every 2 hours. So if you connected with people who are all in your rising sign, those connections would be so much deeper, because those are people who are so much more like you.
Seriously. And it makes so much sense too as to why they were referring to the rising sign, because your rising sign is a lot more personal to you. Like we said, your sun sign, it only changes every 30 days. So you are sharing that with a much larger group of people, rather than your rising sign, which changes every 2 hours. So it's a lot shorter of a window. Right. So it's just, it was a lot more personal. So people were like, we're going to go by the rising sign.
Exactly.
So just,
and we would have stopped all
Why
situations.
Did we change that?
Exactly. And all those situations where people are like, I just feel like I just don't connect with other Leos. Like, I feel like all these other Leos are doing the most. Like, I hear so many people complaining about that. And then you look at their rising sign and there's the T right there and why you're not connecting with them. Because your sun is shared. There's so, like Gabrielle said, the window is completely different here. So if I could go back in time, I would change that. So we thought that was super cool. And we wanted to share that with you guys.
Very cool. So also to move on, like I mentioned and touched on briefly before, your rising sign or your ascendant sign sets up your whole birth chart. It is literally your personal compass. Think of it like this. If your birth chart is your map, your rising sign is your compass. When Snow came up with that, I was like, ooh, chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. One more time, guys. If your birth chart is your map, right? Because we always refer to your birth chart as your map, your psychological map, your makeup, right? Your rising sign is your compass.
Yes, Gabbo. One time for the one time. So your rising sign will then determine and set up your entire chart. So once you know your rising sign, you will then know all your houses as well. Because your rising sign is always, without fail, is always in your first house.
It is your first house.
It is your first house.
Yes.
Your rising sign is your first house. So from there, we can pretty much, if we know someone's rising sign, as long as they don't have any intercepted signs and within their birth chart, which is a whole other thing, we can pretty much guess entirely the rest of their houses within their birth chart, which is super cool.
For example, if someone has an Aries rising, right? Because it all goes in order, right, guys? Like, the houses go in order. It goes from 1 to 12 because the wheel's set up into 12 sectors, right? And those are all divided into the houses. And then you have the zodiac signs. There's 12 zodiacs and they go in order, right? It goes Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, fire, earth, air, water, then repeats. So if you have an Aries rising, so you have Aries and it's the first house, right? Your rising is your first house. That's Aries. So you would know that person's next house, unless they have any interceptions within their birth chart, you would know that their second house is going to be ruled by Taurus, because again, after Aries is Taurus. It goes in order. So you can literally basically determine someone's whole birth chart if you know their rising sign when you really get into the nitty gritty, which is really, really cool.
Yes, which is tea that you're definitely going to want to know, because your houses are so important. And I feel like it's another sector in beginner natal astrology that's slept on, because your houses are essentially like the themes and stages within life that we go through. So for example, the first house being all about yourself, and then second house being about possessions, and so on and so on and so on.
Yeah, because the first house is the mantra for the first house is I am,
Mm-hmm.
right? So of course, literally, guys, your rising is the I am.
Mm-hmm.
So of course, it's gonna be so much more personal to you and how you perceive the world and how the world perceives you, because it is the I am. It is your personality.
But now we're gonna get into that tea that we're talking about and that little teaser that we gave you guys on why you've been reading your horoscopes wrong this entire time. You've been doing it wrong. You've been doing it wrong. And it stops today. It stops today. It stops today. You will start reading your horoscopes correctly today. Okay. So let's look at it this way. Horoscopes are the foretellings of the future. So when planets are transiting, they will transit through our houses. And these houses, like we said, are themes. So they will activate the different energies within our charts. So if our houses are determined from our rising sign, why would we be looking at our sun sign?
Yeah, doesn't make sense.
No, we want to be looking at our rising sign because that is the houses that our planets are going to be transiting through. That is where the real tea is. So you want to look at your rising sign because it will depict what planets are traveling through your houses, and this will determine the themes that you're entering in that moment in time.
Yes. Chef's kiss.
Per.
See, guys?
Exactly.
Freaking
exactly,
important.
guys. Because if you think about it, like even then, your sun sign does not give all of you. Your sun sign is your identity. It's who you're striving to become.
It's your basic personality. Guys, keyword. Basic personality.
Basic, which is why
it's who you're striving to be, not who you are currently are.
Exactly, which is why I feel like so many people read their horoscopes and then write off astrology and they feel like it's not right because they're looking at their sun sign. And half the time they're not going to identify with that because that's not the space and time that you're in. It doesn't align with what it is that you're going through. It might be part of the picture, but it's not the entire picture. Your rising sign is going to depict that information stronger.
Like guys, like I'm telling you right now, like we've worked with many clients, and most of our clients identify with their rising or their moon sign more than their sun sign. I've yet to really come across someone who identifies more with their sun sign unless they have a stellium of that sign, right? So most people that we talk to, they're like, I always look at my moon sign. I feel like I resonate with that more. Oh, I feel like I really resonate with my rising sign. I resonate that with more than my sun sign because it makes sense. Like your rising sign is when your physical body met your soul. It's literally how you make sense of the world that you are surrounded by. And you have your moon sign, which is your private self, yourself at the core. So of course, you know, like that's who you are with everything stripped down. Like that's who you are in your private self.
Bare naked.
Exactly. So it makes sense as to why people resonate more with their moon and rising sign than they do with their sun sign. So
exactly. And guys, this is why rising sign is so important, because knowing this information and knowing the fact that you can look at your rising sign instead for horoscopes when there's big things happening, like for example, our recent podcast episode where we talked about Pluto retrograde, Gabrielle and I sat down, we looked at both of our birth charts, looked at the transiting planets, put the transiting planets over our birth charts to see how Pluto is going to be moving through our birth chart and what themes it is that's going to be happening. So knowing this, you can set yourself up for a game plan and set yourself up for success. So even the hardest of transits can be a breeze for you because you're prepared. So game changer,
guys. If you don't know your rising sign right now, please do so after this podcast episode. We will leave a birth chart calculator down below for you guys, so you can go on that website. We're gonna link Cafe Astrology. Guys, I love that website so much. There was a period on Twitter where Cafe was getting slaughtered, and I don't understand why, because guys, the information they have on the website is insane. Like they have everything on there, and they deserve a lot more credit than they get because they did not deserve that slander.
Exactly.
Because a lot of people want to like slander them because they didn't have the wheel form, which I understand. Like as a more mature and expert astrologer, like you want to look at the actual wheel form, not the chart form. But for beginners, it's so good because it literally breaks down everything for you and puts it in a table. Because guys, you can't tell me, if you don't know how to read a birth chart wheel right now, you can't tell me that you don't look at a birth chart wheel and you don't get overwhelmed. You get overwhelmed. I got overwhelmed. Snow got overwhelmed. We all got overwhelmed when we first looked at a natal chart. I'm like, yeah, I cannot read that. I'm not going to touch that. I don't want to look at that. That scares me. Right? When I look at Cafe Astrology and when I looked at the table chart when I was new to astrology, a breeze. I was able to read through all the paragraphs, look at the chart, and I'm like, okay, I still don't really understand this, but it's easier. It's more digestible for me. So I will always stand Cafe Astrology. I freaking love them.
We're tired of the slander.
Yeah, seriously. Like we've been using them for years, and I just love them so much. wish I knew who they were because they're really cool people.
Exactly.
But anyways, so next we're going to get into the common misconceptions about your rising sign, and we are here to debunk them. We are debunking them right now. We're putting it to an end.
Yep. It stops.
It stops
now.
Yes, just as we said, you stop when you're looking at your horoscopes. We're stopping looking at the sun sign. I mean, not to say that you never look at your sun sign, guys. Like, if you want a whole big picture, look at all of your placements, especially your sun, moon, and rising.
Yes.
Look, take it all in, because then it will give you a even grander picture. The more that of the placements that we look at within our chart, the clearer the picture is going to be.
Exactly.
Right? You can't just look at your rising sign and that's going to tell you the whole picture. No, your rising sign is very, very, very important. One of the most important placements within your chart, debatably, but it is not the only everything is important. Everything that is within your chart makes you.
Yes.
So every little thing in there is very, very important.
I totally agree with that, because I've been seeing that a lot too, where people will say that the rising sign is the most important placement inside your birth chart, which I agree with Gabriella. I would argue with that and say that it is the most mathematically
it's the most influential.
Yeah,
I want to say
technical,
because it literally sets up your whole chart.
Yeah.
Like, it literally sets up everything for you. So I want to say it's the most influential, and again, because it changes so frequently. The first misconception that we are going to debunk right now is we hear it all the time, and everyone's like, your rising sign is like a mask. It's your mask. It's, it's the mask that you put on when you go out into the world.
Yeah, the mask that you take on and off, which false. Stops now. Gabrielle and I were big. So, see, all these misconceptions that we're giving you guys, like, we've been there. We've been there. We fell for it. There's times where we were like, yeah, your rising sign's like your mask. Like, we were those girlies. No worry.
Oh my gosh, there's another misconception we're getting to that we really fell in.
We really fell into.
Oh my gosh, we were blind.
Yes,
we were blind, but we're here to break it down for you, so you don't have to go in doing the same mistake we were making, because we really did not give rising sign the credit that she really deserves.
No, we once were lost.
Yes,
but now we're found.
Wow, look at that gospel song coming through.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
Praise the Lord.
Oh. Preacher Snowball's out, guys. Snowball literally has a side of her where she got a preacher, and she literally, it's like in a past life, she was a preacher, like a black gospel preacher.
Yep.
She was out here in the church. She was giving the damn sermons. She was making everyone sweat, everyone get up and jump up and down, and like Snowball was doing the damn thing.
I was giving everyone the Holy Ghost.
Yes, exactly. In the past life, I swear, Snow was a preacher.
I'm dead.
She's got it's really. Anyways, if you haven't seen, I mean, none of you have seen that.
Yeah,
Snow,
maybe one day. Maybe one day.
For funsies.
Anyways, back to this whole rising sign being your mask thing. A lot of people like to say this, and I feel like it's them trying to reference the whole rising sign dictating your social personality. But
which I see what you're saying.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
but you're not.
And
really
also
there.
like the physical appearance, because like mask, like that's your face, right? And because your rising sign does have to do with your physical appearance, which we'll get into later. But it's not a mask that you can take on and off. You can't take off your rising sign. Your rising sign is there.
Exactly. It's the idea that it makes it sound like the rising sign is a superficial part of yourself. Like it is this idea that you can take it on and off. No, your rising sign is so personal to you. Like we keep stressing, it's changing every 2 hours. It is the physical body that your soul chose to step into. You can't turn that on and off. You can't take that off. So your rising sign is not a mask, because that alludes that it is not you, and your rising sign is you. It is the most strongest essence of you.
Point blank.
Period.
Thank you. Next misconception that we are going to debunk is your rising sign isn't important. And I'm sure like we already kind of just ranted and raved about that, but the amount of times that like people just dismiss their rising sign. This is my personal favorite, guys. This is my personal favorite. In the past, we've had people come into our comments and being like, I don't resonate with this. Like, I don't resonate with my sign, da-da-da-da-da. And of course, we know me and Snow come in. We always want people to resonate with their birth chart, right? Like, come on, that's your psychological report. Like, what's going on? Why don't you resonate? And so I'll always come in and I'll be like, oh, like, what's your sun, moon, and rising? So have you looked at your big three? And then every time that when people will comment that they don't resonate with something, every response that I get is, what is that? What is that? Girly girl, you can't come in here and say you don't resonate with it when you don't know your whole birth chart. Like, What? And I mean, that's just people being like, those are the people that just aren't educated and need that extra guidance because they don't know that there's a whole birth chart, which is fine. That's literally the whole point of what me and Snow do, is to preach about birth charts and how astrology is not your sun's. It's not just your sun sign. We always say, you're more than just your sun sign. That is literally our mantra. One more time. You're more than just your sun sign. So it's so crazy to me when people come in and as soon as I see someone that says they don't resonate with something, I automatically know that they don't know what the rising sign is. And that is why we're stressing that, guys, it in fact is very important. Very important.
And another thing that I've been seeing a lot lately too, like even on TikTok that I've been seeing lately, is people being like, giving their whole spiel and then being like, and if you don't know your rising sign, that's okay, because that's not really that important. Your rising sign will just dictate your physical appearance, which like, you already know what you look like. That kind of energy. And I'm like, no, it's a lot more than that. Your rising sign.
It's not just how you look, guys. It's a lot more than just your physical appearance.
Yep.
Way more than that.
Yeah, like we literally said, your rising sign is your compass. It is how you navigate through this world. So are you lost? Are you lost? Because that's how you are without knowing your rising sign. Yeah. So
seriously, you don't have the compass. So where are you? Like, how do you know if you're going north, south, east, west? Like, you know what I mean?
Y'all just winging it? Y'all just driving around through this world? Is that what you're doing?
A lot of people don't have the compass. They don't know where their compass is at. But we are here to give you that compass right now.
We got you.
And the last misconception we're going to talk about, that we are again debunking. This one's the big one. Ugh. This is the one that me and Snow, we really fell into the trap of.
Guilty of this one.
Yes, very guilty of this one. And that this is, your rising sign is something that you grow out of. We see this everywhere. People talking about it's something that you grow out of. And this isn't true, guys. This isn't true.
It's not true. I feel like this is the biggest excuse because a lot of people, I feel like once you find out what your rising sign is, a lot of people, I feel like, don't immediately identify with it, because it's you. It's how the world perceives you. So when you first find out what it is, a lot of people end up having a shocked reaction to that. So that's where I feel like that excuse falls in, which is the fact that it's something that you grow out of, because like we spoke about before, your rising sign is dictated by your first rules your first house. So it is all of your new experiences, all your early childhood experiences, it's all happening within your first house, all happening within your rising sign. So a lot of people give the excuse that it's something that you grow out of.
I think that a lot of people pull that, like a reason a lot of people say that is because like your rising sign really talks a lot about your childhood experiences, which we'll get into later again. But when you come out of your rising, like when you come out of your childhood, you don't leave your rising sign behind. No, that's not how it works. When you grow up and you find more of your identity and who you are in this world, yes, you might connect more with your moon sign and connect more with your sun sign, and grow into who you are becoming, right? Because when you're a child, you're really trying to make sense of the world, trying to make sense of everything, and really make an identity for yourself. Because when you're a kid, you're just kind of living life. You're just living in the current moment, trying to like figure out who you are, like what your identity is, what your style is, who you're friends with. Do you know what I mean? So you're really, and that's again really embodying the rising sign, because the rising is how you perceive others and how others perceive you. So as a child, you're always like perceiving people and you're learning from what you perceive. So I understand that that's where people are pulling it from, that you resonate with it a lot when you're a child, and that's true. You do really fall into your rising sign as a child, but that's not to say that you grow out of it. No, you might just I have a better sense of identity when you are older, but your rising sign is just as still as important, because again, even when you come out of that, a lot of people, when they're young adults, that's when they start trying to heal from their childhood experiences. And you, again, really need your rising sign for that, in order to get into that healing and really just understand the depths of who you are, to go and transform that trauma or pain or hurt or whatever that is into power and empowerment. You need your rising sign. It's very, very important.
Exactly. I almost feel like, if anything, for us, which we'll talk about our experience with our rising sign a bit later, but it almost feels like the rising sign wasn't something that I grew out of. If anything, it feels more like something that I'm growing into. Yeah. Because like we keep stressing, your rising sign is your compass. It's how you navigate through this world. So once you master it, once you master the power of your rising sign, you can navigate through this world with so much more ease, guys, because you have direction, you have drive, you know where it is that you're going. So you can almost grow into this. That's how we felt. Our experience has been with our rising sign. So
I agree. Okay, guys, so we broke down what is a rising sign, the history of rising signs, how it sets up your whole birth chart, and we broke down some misconceptions. So now we're going to finally get into breaking down the rising sign, what it's going to really uncover for you, right? So the first thing that we'll get into is your physical body. So like I said before, your rising sign or your ascendant sign is the moment your soul met your physical body, right? So your soul getting into the physical body, so it's going to affect our physical appearance.
Yes, because like we keep saying, it's literally from the moment that you're born. So that first breath, that's in your rising body here. So.
For example, you have Pisces risings. Pisces risings are known to have sleepy, droopy, dreamy eyes, like beautiful, dreamy eyes that you can just like get lost into, right? And for example, Billie Eilish, she has a Pisces rising, and like literally like ocean eyes, like the song Ocean Eyes by Billie Eilish, like that is literally like her eyes, like you can literally get lost in her eyes. Her eyes are so beautiful. And a lot of the times Pisces risings will look like they're on the verge of crying. And this is, you can see this, you look up Pisces risings, you can see a collage of a bunch of Pisces rising celebrities, and you can see, yes, they all might look different, they might have different colored hair and different ethnicities, but regardless of your ethnicity, your background, where you come from, you have that similar physical attribute that you share with with people that share the same rising sign as you.
Yes. Guys, again, I'm just stressing this again. I'm so mad that we don't go by rising signs anymore, because imagine just being like with a group of friends and you guys are all the same rising. You just all look the same. Like just a bunch of Pisces risings, and you guys are just hypnotizing people with your dreamy ocean eyes. Like, come on, that would be so cool. That would be so cool. The power.
We need to normalize it.
We need to normalize it. You're right.
Yes, we truly do. So also, because it rules your physical body, you can determine what it is that it looks best on you. Like, guys, you literally can determine what looks best on you. For example, you can determine what colors look best on you.
Yep.
Are you an earth rising? You know, if you're an earth rising, you might look better in neutral tones.
Yep. Have you guys ever seen an Aries rising walk in the room and they're wearing red?
Oh my gosh.
That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
So because you can determine what looks best on you, your physical attributes, guys, you can literally figure it out, what it is that makes you look best physically, right? What makes you stand out most. You know, what makes you different than the crowd. By knowing your rising sign and knowing what you naturally look good in, what you naturally brings you out, makes you stand out, right? For example, like I said, earth risings, they look really good in neutral tones. So an earth rising also would maybe look really good in business casual, and they would really stand out in business casual clothes.
Yep.
Right?
Gabrielle's a Capricorn rising, and every single time this girl is in a two-piece suit, every time she's in a button-up, I'm like, oh! Insert explicit language right here. Like, oh god.
Yeah, I love the business side of me. That's definitely when I feel like most confident in, is when I'm wearing like business casual. And not to say that I'm out here every day wearing a suit. No, you know what I mean? It's just like embodying the business casual outfits, right? Whether that's just like, you know, those business pants where like with the stripes down the, I don't know how to, what you call those, the pants. I don't know. You know the pants I'm talking about, guys. Like the black and they got the white stripes. You know what I'm talking about?
Y'all know the business pants.
Y'all know what I'm talking about. You know, maybe with like a white crop top. You know, you do what you do with it. Because everyone has different styles, right? But it's about making what looks best and making it you. And boom, pow, you are standing out. You look good as hell. Damn, you did that. You did the damn thing.
Exactly. Or even we'll give you guys a celebrity example here. We have Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj in her prime. That super bass Nicki Minaj. She was out here changing her appearance every single time, constantly keeping us on top of what it is that she was doing. Everyone was in awe to see what it is that she was going to do next, whether it was change her hair, change her outfit. She was doing
change her whole aesthetic.
Yeah, crazy eccentric things. She has an Aquarius rising, constantly being unpredictable with her look.
Yes, because Aquarians love being unpredictable.
Exactly, and that's what helped gain her change and gain fame, and gain such a wild traction. So like we keep saying, your rising sign is your compass. So you can literally use your rising sign and the knowledge of your physical appearance to help master and help you gain the most success in the world by capturing people's attention with your physical appearance, by doing what it is they look good in.
Seriously, like guys, use it for your own good. Use it to further your inner power. This is what your birth chart's here for.
Exactly.
Next thing we're going to touch on is social personality. So your rising sign is you, the skin that you feel most comfortable in.
Yeah, it's the skin that you feel most comfortable in. Like we keep stressing again, it's the moment that your soul met your physical body. So this is the skin that you're in. This is the body that you're in this lifetime here.
Yes.
So in social scenes, I know a lot of us, this is where that stigma comes in that we talked about, where people talk about it being the mask that you take on and off, and it being your social personality here. So for example, when we talk about social scenes, I know a lot of us, when we're in social scenes, we start to tweak ourselves and be a different version of ourselves, because these aren't people that you're necessarily completely comfortable in. So a lot of people will say that they fall into their rising sign and this is the mask that they take off. No, guys, this isn't the mask that you put on. This is you. This is the version of you that your body stepped into here. So your first house, which is your rising sign again, rules all new experiences, all childhood experiences.
Well, because think of it like this. It's your first house. It's where the cycle begins, right? And then it ends at the cycle in the 12th house, right? That's where the cycle ends. So think of it as new beginnings. And first house is literally ruled by Aries. Aries being all about new beginnings. And that's why they're so innovative and always go, go, go and taking on new projects. Because again, new experiences, new beginnings, new cycles.
Exactly.
That is all what the first house is about, guys.
Exactly. So every single time you approach a new experience, a new beginning, you're going to approach it in the way of your rising sign. So this is why when people are in social scenarios where they feel uncomfortable, they result and fall back into their rising sign.
Yeah, even for me, for example, guys, I'm a Leo. And so, Leos are fire signs. They like to have a good time. They like to, like a little party or two. Go shopping or whatever.
Yeah,
they have a good time.
Leos are the life of the party or whatever.
We do the damn thing.
Yeah.
But I have a Capricorn rising. So you would think me being a fire sign that, maybe someone who likes to be loud, someone who likes to, start the party, whatever that is. But when I get into social situations where I'm not so comfortable, or where it's a situation that I'm new to, I'll fall into my rising sign, which is an earth sign.
Like when Gabrielle's in a social setting, she gets into her cat bag. She gets a little bit more quieter. She sits back, but at the same time, she's also the one who's taking the initiative in the conversation. So when conversation is happening, like she's going in with the conversation and stuff like that, but not necessarily one to instigate conversation like a Leo may.
Yes. Yeah. So in that essence, I would more so resonate with a Capricorn than I would with a Leo.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly. And then like we keep talking about too, your rising signs are social personality. So this is also how others perceive you. If you think about it, when you first meet someone, the first things that you take about is their first impression. So first impressions can be physical appearance, what it is that the person looks like, or also the way that they come across. And this is determined by your rising sign here. So once you're aware of your rising sign, guys, you can use this to master how it is that you come across to people. So for example, me, I am a Virgo rising, but I am a Scorpio sun with a Leo moon. So if I'm in a different situation, typically in new scenarios where I feel awkward, I'll fall into my Virgo rising. Yes. My Virgo rising becomes quiet. She's sitting there. Gabriella likes to
hyper observing.
Yeah.
Looks like an owl.
Yeah. I'm literally just sitting in the room, scanning the room. I'm analyzing, looking whatever, speak when spoken to. You know what I mean? So if I master the power of my rising sign, I can analyze and see what setting it is that I'm in. So if I am in a setting where I'm with a bunch of groups of girlies, you know what I mean, and we're having fun, we're kikiing together, you know what I mean, and that kind of energy, it's not time to pull out the Virgo rising. In my head, I can pull out my Leo moon, because that's the part of my birth chart that's going to get this party started here, right? So having the knowledge and the power of the mannerisms of your birth chart, you can literally alter how people perceive you and maximize your success.
Yeah, if you know how to use astrology, you can literally control how others perceive you.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
Exactly. So if we're at a job interview, is Gabriella going to be pulling out her Leo sun? Am I going to be pulling on my Leo moon? No, we're going to reach for the Capricorn rising, reach for the Virgo rising, and nail the interview. Show that because once you know your rising sign, you know the things and how most people perceive you. Like, for example, like we talked about before with Earth risings, they come across more mature. They can come across all those sort of things.
Like a mini adult.
Exactly, like a mini adult. So
even from a kid standpoint.
Exactly.
They
so
be looking like little adults.
Exactly. You know that there's a time and a place, and you can master how people perceive you to maximize your success in life.
So the last thing that we're going to touch on that you can look at when it comes to your rising sign is your childhood experiences. This one's I really like this part of it. We use this a lot with our clients that are looking for healing using their birth chart.
Yes.
So we love this part of it. This is literally the reason that I looked into my personal rising, because I learned on the internet, if you want to learn about your childhood experiences, you got to look at your rising sign. So that is why I got into learning about rising signs in the first place.
Exactly.
So it really can take you back and really uncover your childhood experiences and how you perceive the world as a child.
Yes. Bringing so much healing, whether it is that you're doing that shadow work that Gabrielle's mentioned, mentioning, or even as well with other clients that we've worked with, for those who are welcoming in a new child into their life as well, helping their parents navigate on how that their what route their child is going to be going through, how they're going to experience the world, how they're going to perceive the world, so then that way they can create an environment that's
even really important
and
in our parent-child birth chart reading, that we definitely use that in, because that's a huge factor in those as well. But so the rising child describes the early childhood experiences or how the child perceived it, right? Because again, your rising sign is how you perceive others and how others perceive you. Because think of it like this, guys, like, and I kind of touched on this earlier. You're a child, right? You come into this world as a blank slate. You don't have an identity yet. You're like, what is my identity? Who am I? And you figure that out as you go through life and you meet new people, you have new experiences, whatever that is that you're going through, you start to form your own identity by picking and choosing, pulling things from experiences, pulling things from people that you meet, right? And then to pull it all together, you pick and choose all these different things, and you're like, okay, I'm pulling this, I'm pulling this, I'm pulling this. Okay, now you're slowly forming your own identity to figure out how you want others to perceive you, right? So you come in, you're a kid, and you come into this one friend group, and this one person stands out to you, and you're like, oh, I really like the way this person dresses, you know, and you get inspired by that person, and you take some things you get inspired and kind of do your own thing. You're like, oh yeah, I like the way that they did this, I'm gonna kind of do something similar to that line, right? You meet this other person, they really stand out to you, and you really like the way that they talk, right? You like their sense of humor, maybe. So you start to hang out around them, and you start to adapt their sense of humor, right? You kind of start to talk like them, right? So you again, you're going through life, and you're picking and choosing what it is that you want to take for yourself, so you can understand how others perceive you, or how you want other people to perceive you.
That's so cool. So essentially, we're just a compilation of our experiences and interactions with other people, and the coolest parts that we thought that we'd adapt, which is so
literally, because it's literally like nature and nurture, right? Because I think they go together. You have the nature of things, like your genetics, how your makeup, all that type of stuff, like all those the genes and whatever, and then you have the nurture, right? So it's like literally, people say all the time, like, you could, if you wanted to raise an athlete and you really wanted that person to be an athlete, okay, you could do that by surrounding them, by, enforcing that in their environment, by surrounding them with other athletes, by whatever that is, yada, yada, yada. That's what we do. We are children. When we're children, we're constantly absorbing everything around us to create our own identity. That's why we were mentioning earlier, when a lot of people say that you grow out of that, because when you're older, you start to form your own identity. And I like to say that a lot of people still don't really grow out of that, and their identity lies in other people. And that's just because they haven't done that self-work yet. And that's why it's so prevalent in your childhood experiences, because that is really when you're trying to form that identity. And when you grow up, that identity is there. But you don't grow out of it. It's still very, very important, but it's, again, very prevalent in your childhood experience. And I actually found this quote from a.k.a. Astrology, like the website we were talking about earlier, I really liked the quote that they wrote here. So I'm going to share that with you guys. And they said on their website, from myriad impressions and interactions, the child will weave the tapestry of her unique selfhood. And I thought that was so cool, because it's so true. Like,
that's so pretty and poetic,
right? It's like you're weaving your own tapestry of who it is that you are, because you're going through life, you're having new experiences, new friends, new schools, whatever that is, and you're starting to form your identity and weaving your own tapestry.
Each experience is a new stitch.
And the last thing, even too, that we're going to touch on when it comes to childhood experiences, and even this doesn't have to do with specifically just childhood experiences, but planets that are within your first house, within your rising sign, also plays a huge major role within your birth chart and within your personality and how you come across to people. Because again, guys, your birth chart's literally a snapshot of where all the planets were at the exact moment that you're born. So if you had a planet passing through your first house when you're born, that planet now lies within your first house where your rising sign is. So for example, you have a Cancer rising, but the planet Mars was in their first house when they were born. So now that Mars lies within their first house. So you have a Cancer rising who, you think of Cancers, they're intuitive, they're sensitive to their surroundings, maybe really in tune with their really like home's very important to them, right? But then they have Mars in the first house, which this, again, like Snow was saying earlier, when a planet is within a house, this really amplifies the energies
within that house.
Exactly. So you have someone with a Cancer rising, but then they have a Mars within that, and Mars being all about assertion and energy and drive and force. So this might be a Cancer that is more dominant than a regular Cancer rising might be, right? Because you think of Cancers as kind of like passive and submissive and all those water traits, right? But then this Mars planet's lying there, and it's like, you know, I'm gonna make you a little spicy Cancer rising. Yeah, you're gonna be more assertive. You're not gonna be as passive as if you didn't have Mars in the first house. Yeah, right. Because I thought that's really cool. So if you have planets within your first house, look at that, guys. I think we're gonna do a whole podcast on planets in the first house and what that means. Yes. So if you guys are interested, please let us know, because I think we're really interested in making that a podcast, because not a lot of people talk about that. I don't think
that I've seen.
Yeah, so I think that's really cool.
Exactly. And again, once you know that information, you can master it and use it to gain stronger success. Yes. And I know we kind of touched on it before, but again, just to reiterate with the childhood experiences, once you master this knowledge within your birth chart, you can start to find that healing, to be able to do that inner child healing that we preach about all the time. Yes. To be able to do the shadow work. Just out of curiosity, G, like, what's something from like your childhood that you saw somebody else do that you weaved into your like tapestry?
That's a good question.
Like, it can even be something random. Like for me, like I saw this girl who always who always did her sevens with that little, with the, you know, when the seven has the tie thing. Yeah. That's the reason why I did that. Like, I never did that for no reason.
Yeah, that's actually a good one. Oh, a good example that I would say is that my childhood best friend, one of my childhood best friends, every time when I would go over to her house would always smell like so good, like unlike any other, and it was because of their laundry soap that they use. And I didn't know this as a kid until I got a little older, but I always loved the laundry soap that they use because it had this like apple smell to it, and I just loved the way their laundry smelled. I don't know, that's on my Capricorn rising. I was thinking of these things as a little 6-year-old.
Gabriella's like, so what fabric softener do you use, Miss Pamela? Miss Patterson?
Yes, seriously, like, no. And so when because I was friends with this girl for a very long time, and so the older I got, I came to the understanding that it was their laundry soap that they used. So now to this day, I will literally get apple scented laundry soap, and I'm a stan. I love it, and it's now literally a part of me. That's something that I really took from, like, I was very influenced by my friend at that time, and now it's literally a part of me.
Woven into
my tapestry. Right?
And now it brings me comfort by association, because now I'll go to Gabriella's bathroom back at our old place when we had separate bathrooms, and I would just use her hand soap for no reason because it smelled like green apples, and I was like, I love this.
Right? It's so cool. And we all kind of just like we pick and choose, like I was saying earlier, and it really just makes us into who we are today. It's crazy. Like, it's really the nature and nurture, like I was talking about. It's so cool. Freak. I love psychology. It's so cool.
Me too.
Love science. Freak. But anyways,
now we're just gonna talk to you guys about our experience and our journey with our rising sign.
Gosh, what a roller coaster.
Let's take it back to the old days. Okay, so we want to make sure that you guys don't make the same mistake that we did, because honestly, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. So we keep recommending to you guys, if you're a beginner and maybe perhaps looking at the birth chart wheel, if you really want to look at the birth chart wheel from a really accurate one, definitely go to astro.com. Super accurate. But if you feel overwhelmed by looking at the birth chart on that form, definitely check out the table at Cafe Astrology. We'll put in the birth chart calculator in the description. But for us, when we looked at that, you got to scroll down. Okay, there'll be the thing that has all your planets, the first chart, the initial chart that has all of your planets on there. It'll be your sun all the way to Pluto. So you want to scroll down a little bit to where it says all the houses there. So the one that says, the top one that'll say ASC stands for Ascendant, and that one will be your rising sign.
Yes, that is the one to look at, because guys, we were looking at our freaking North Node. Don't know what the fuck we were doing. Honestly, I don't know what the fuck we were doing. Yikes. But back in the day, I was like, I'm a Leo rising, guys. Like, it makes sense. Like, I have big hair. Like, my hair is literally my identity, guys. But again, I'm a Leo stellium, so of course, bitch, like, it makes sense. You know, I'm a Leo stellium, so of course I really, really resonate with being, you know, I can easily make it look like I'm a Leo rising, right? But no, no, girly girl, you were looking at the wrong freaking placement. You were not the right placement at all. And then later to find out that I was an Earth rising, and I was like, at first I literally I was disgusted. I'm like, I am not a Capricorn rising. Like, ew, gross. No, not me at all.
Yikes.
I rebuke.
And guys, I remember because we literally experienced this together. So when I found out that Gabrielle was a Capricorn rising, I was in stronger denial than she was. I was like, there's no way that people perceive you this way. Because at this point, this was a point where I was undeveloped. I did not have the best relationship with Capricorn. So I was like, we would not be friends. I would not be your friend. I was like, how are you a Capricorn
This is
rising?
when we were using astrology to feed our ego.
Yeah.
Not a cute time. Not to use as a healing tool.
No, not a cute time for us.
Yeah. And literally, and then I read the description for Capricorn risings and really explaining the childhood experience of a Capricorn rising. I'm like, yeah, that's me. Yep, that's me. And then I read the description for the Leo rising. And I'm like, no, that ain't it.
Yep,
that ain't it. And then I was like, wow, I really had to come to terms with I'm a Capricorn rising. And it's so funny because it is one of the most heaviest placements in my chart that I resonate with the most. And then, oh my gosh, Snow on the other hand.
Guys, I don't even know what was happening. At this time, I didn't even have my birth time right. So I was looking at my North Node again, too. And it said Aquarius.
This girl really thought she was an Aquarius rising. She's like, I'm not like most girls.
Guys.
I'm not like those girls. She's like, she milked it, guys. She's like, I am not like those girls.
Yeah, okay, my Leo mood was really loud. I just wanted to be different, okay? I wanted to be different. I was like, I mean, like, if you think about it, like, I don't really like look like everybody. Like, I have like big, like, I almost look like an alien, like, and I have a big forehead, so I'm definitely like an Aquarius rising. Like, I just feel like I connect with that.
Oh my God. See, guys, we've made all these mistakes that we are here to tell you not to make, because we did that too.
Yep.
We were there.
Then I found out I was a Virgo rising, and I was like, oh, you have big eyes because you look like an owl and you're constantly scanning the room in anxiety.
Constantly
That's the real tea.
Analyzing
analytical,
everything.
hyper analytical.
Yeah, kind of low-key stressing all the time.
Yeah.
Big Virgo energy.
Yeah. And Virgos have prominent foreheads too, so
look at that.
That's where that was.
Big forehead.
I'm chill. Anyways. But yeah, now that we know our rising sign, guys, like, we love it. Like, I love being Virgo rising.
Yeah, I freaking love my Capricorn rising.
Yeah, like, it's one of my favorite placements to roast, but it's also my favorite placement just in general.
Seriously, I love roasting my rising
yeah,
sign.
same.
It's kind of like a teasing thing.
Yeah, like teasing myself.
Hey, girl, I'm just here to give you your daily tease.
Exactly. And the fact that we're like best friends and we're both like Earth risings is just so funny.
I know,
like,
it's so cute. But yeah, guys, that's our experience with rising signs. That's why we're here to tell you that they are extremely important and is literally the key to your ascension. Mm-hmm. But that's the motherfucking tea on the rising sign, guys. We really, really hope you enjoyed this week's podcast. But before we end off this podcast, we have to end with gratitude attitude.
Oh, I almost forgot this time.
I'm usually the one that forgets.
Look at you. That was a gratitude.
I'm like, finally, podcast episode 4. I'm getting the hang of it here.
I love to hear it.
I'm getting the hang of it here.
I love to hear it.
So, Snorvor, start us off. What are you grateful for today?
I think this is what I'm grateful for right now. This is gonna sound super cheesy, but so it's Gemini season, and like, I love Geminis. So it's just making me realize, like, as my Gemini friends' birthdays are coming up,
that's so
how much I love them. I'm like, I love you. And especially with it being locked down, like, we're in some unfortunate scenarios right now where we can't all get together. But I'm just blessed that one of my favorite Geminis, I live with them, and that I get to celebrate with them.
That's so
funny.
That's
Kevin.
That's so funny because that's literally what I was gonna say.
Oh,
love that our minds.
Love that our minds do that. Okay, well, now you can give it from a sappy point of view because that's your man.
Okay, guys. Yes, gotta be real savvy for a second. But yes, tomorrow is my boyfriend Kevin's birthday tomorrow, so I'm feeling extra grateful for him and for his life here on Earth because he is a cool ass human. So I'm very grateful for him. Super cool Gemini. We freaking love Geminis. The Gemini slander needs to stop. So I'm extra grateful for him. And, it's almost 6 p.m. right now. And, it's in, 6 hours? Sir is turning 23. Why are you looking at me like that? Are you not 22 right now?
That's just really awkward because on Stephanie's birthday post, I said happy 24th.
What?
genuinely forgot how old we're turning.
Guys.
I thought that we were turning 24.
No.
Wait, so
I know your age more than you do.
I've been 22 this whole time, 23 this whole time.
I was like, wait, you I saw your face and I was like, wait, did I just get my boyfriend's age wrong?
I literally have to go and tell Stephanie happy 23rd now.
That's really awkward. Yeah,
Sorry,
we also
babes.
have our roommate that we were lived with the past 2 years. Her birthday's literally today. Happy birthday, Stephanie. If you were listening to this, we love you so much. Mwah.
Love you,
But
babes.
again, you can see we love our Geminis. We are surrounded by Geminis. So we love and appreciate every one of them. And we are extra grateful for you guys this Gemini season. So I think that is a perfect way to end off this podcast episode. Go send your Gemini friends some extra love today because it's their season, right? When it's your season, you want the extra love.
Exactly.
Come on. It's their birthday season.
Exactly. Let's stop the Gemini slander.
Exactly.
It stops today.
Yes.
Anyways, if you guys like this podcast episode, be sure to rate us on Apple Podcasts.
Please do, guys.
If
It
you
helps
haven't
us
already.
out so much.
Exactly, and helps us reach other people so we can help give them some healing and provide this
Help
information.
them ascend too.
Exactly.
Tell them that they're not looking at their rising sign when they should be.
Exactly, because
That
we all want to be sitting at the ascension together.
Exactly.
Let's not leave people behind. Oh, Hannah.
Exactly. And just to remind you guys, be sure to join our beautiful Astro community at astrology.t on Instagram. Oh, we love you guys on there so much. So we really hope to see you over there for daily new posts on astrology and spirituality, all those good things, constantly on there with talking to you guys, replying to DMs, coming into our stories, posting new posts. So join. The hype is there, guys. The hype is there. So join our community on there for sure.
Yes, we're waiting for you. And
Yes.
once again, if you want to learn how to use astrology and spirituality to help bring you that enlightenment and help you spiritually ascend and find that healing, definitely check out our website at www.astrology.ca, where we would love to help you guys. Like if you're listening to this podcast and you're getting hyped up about the ascendant sign and you want to learn how to master the energy of your rising sign to help you navigate through this world with ease, we got you.
We even do birth chart readings on our website too. So if you really just wanted to learn more about, say specifically just your rising sign, we have the current life advice, which you could come talk to us for half an hour or an hour on there to just talk about that. Or we could do a full birth chart breakdown, which includes your rising sign. So if that's real, if you're interested, definitely check it out on there before our time slots are booked. So yeah, that is the tea for today, guys.
Yes. So with that being said, we'll see you guys in our next episode.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.